Welcome to Cozy Coven Chats with Jenny C. Bell, where we explore the journey of the witch. Hey witches, welcome to another Cozy Coven Chat. I am your host, Jenny C. Bell, and in this chat, we are going to continue to talk about living seasonally and what it means to live a slow life. And I finally have figured out, too, how I want to format the show. So the first two episodes, kind of figuring things out. And I think how I'd like to format things is first start talking about the week and any astrology that's popping up. And I also think I'd like to pull a card. And so if you like that, please let me know. So I'm going to pull a card just to kind of see the energy of the week for all of those that are listening. And then at the end, I'm going to give journal questions. And the in-between will be about slow living and living seasonally. So let's start with the astrology. So we are currently still in Virgo season. And I really like to think of Virgo season as back to school energy because it is back to school for some people. But it's just this energy of organization, decluttering, checking things off the to-do list. Like, I love the organization of the Virgo energy. And so personally, what I have been doing and what I'm going to continue to do is opening drawers and pulling things out of them, vacuuming, cleaning them, organizing them, opening closets, pulling things out of them, decluttering and donating, opening pantries, decluttering, donating to the food pantry, opening refrigerators and freezers, looking for things that are expired, just kind of that basic, once a year, let's get things cleansed, clean and organized and feeling good. Because I love, I was just talking about this in our coven, but I love that Virgo season sets us up for a Libra season because Libra is all about beauty and balance. And I always want to decorate and I want to have more pillows on my bed. It's that Venus energy. And so we clean and we organize in Virgo season, and then we refresh and give our space this cleanliness, and then we refresh it with beauty come Libra season. And all of this can be done for free, right? It's just cleaning. And I mean, one of the things I do that I think really helps the house look nice is I touch up paint. So I touch up marks and this and that, and it just helps everything look clean and fresh. So, and it's a little thing to do. And I reorganize, this Libra season will be the time to decide maybe this lamp would look better somewhere else. You don't have to go out and buy stuff. It's just more about bringing in the beauty. But we're not there yet. We're still in beautiful Virgo season, which I love it. I get so organized. I'm writing a book and I have it outlined, and it's good energy. It's good energy. On Sunday, so not this Sunday, but the following, which is the 7th, is a eclipse. And I will talk about this in the next episode, but I wanted to talk about it this week too in preparation. So the eclipse is a lunar eclipse of full moon near the North Node. It's in the sign of Pisces. And some themes from the Chani website. Key themes are escapism, boundless imagination, idealism, and spiritual bypassing, which is interesting. And so a couple of things I like to think about during eclipse season. One is that big change is probably coming in some way. So what would be helpful is if you know your chart, your astrology chart, and you can look up your astrology chart. There's lots of free places to get a free chart. You don't need to pay. So just so you know that. And you can see where Pisces is in your chart. That would be very helpful because eclipses are bringing stuff. The shadows are rising. They are coming up and they're meant to be dealt with. So this week, things are going to pop up for us. And also, we have to think about when it was Pisces season, right? So in March, what are some things, some feelings, some key themes, some energy that you were dealing with or processing or healing from that could come back to be healed again. Because what I've talked about before is that healing is cyclical. And so it's a spiral. And so these eclipses, I feel, are much more intense than a regular moon. And when personally eclipses were in Taurus, that was when I went through probably the most dramatic change as a Taurus sun. So if you have Pisces in any of your big three, definitely give yourself some extra love and care this week. And really all of us, right? You may even already be feeling the effects the previous week. So it's okay to rest. It's okay to nourish. As far as rituals go, like an eclipse is a little different than a regular full moon. Some people caution to not do moon water or charge things under eclipses. However, it's always up to you. And you may want to charge the moon water, but make sure you label it as eclipse water because you might use it differently than you would a regular full moon. So what does that mean? So we think about eclipses, right? We think about the moon going dark. We think about the moon and the sun coming together. We think about shifting and changing and transmutation, transformation. Think about shadow work. And the themes, according to the Chani website, are escapism, boundless imagination, idealism, spiritual bypassing. And so some of the more shadow aspects of Pisces. So think about that. I wouldn't just like collect the moon water and use it like any other moon water. I would definitely use it for certain things like shadow work, for releasing. So it's going to be a different vibration. So just keep that in mind. And then the rest of the energy of the week, like I said, we're in Virgo season. And if you don't know how these moons work, is the moon is in Pisces because that's the opposite of Virgo, right? So it's like the opposite sign. So like I'm a Taurus, my opposite sign is Scorpio. And so if you're a Virgo, Pisces and Pisces energy is very important to you too. And by you being a Virgo, I mean like one of your big three, moon, sun, or rising, right? So lots to consider. I definitely suggest tuning into how you feel. Full moons bring a lot of emotions to the surface, but eclipses bring more. And like I said, they bring shadows up. And shadows are things that perhaps we haven't been dealing with, so you want to pay attention to your dreams. It's a really good time to be journaling, and I'll be giving some journal prompts at the end. Next is I wanted to pull a tarot for just whoever's listening for the energy of the week. And if we like this is something I can do every episode. So if you don't know, I like to read cards. I read them for our coven pretty much every month. And this month I did it live. I also have an Etsy shop. I do like to read them in person, but that doesn't always happen. Still trying to find a spot for that. So we ended up getting the 8 of Pentacles, or the 8 of Coins, or the 8 of Discs, depending on the card deck you have. And that's always the craftsmanship, mastery, dedication, purpose card. So very Virgo. It's like we are dedicated to learning, to mastering something. This is a good card if you're going to go back to school. So back to school energy, you want to learn something new. There's free classes for everything. You might want to dive into a nonfiction book. This is really good learning energy. And if we're talking about eclipses coming up too, it could be also about like self-learning and learning about yourself. But yeah, if you've been thinking about, kind of interested in getting a book on the subject, or I saw this class I want to take, this is the sign, right? Like go for it for sure. So that's kind of like our little start. And I'd like to talk a little bit just kind of about the slow living and energy right now that I'm personally taking part in. So one of the things I talked about was I am cleaning and decluttering. But something that I was talking to I have a yoga community, and I was asking about people that also practice slow living, because slow living is really mindfulness and conscious living and spiritual living. It's very goes well with witchcraft, Buddhism, yoga. Mindfulness. It goes well with a lot of different spiritual paths. But yeah, so I was asking about that, and someone brought up something that I have also found very helpful. So something that helps with slow living is creating a to-do list and creating a menu for the week. because part of the goal of slow living is to have more restful time, more time, downtime, more time to journal, to meditate, to nourish, to contemplate, right? To slow down and not be so busy. And lists and menus really help with that. And I've been creating a menu for like our dinners for a long time, ever since I became a mom and I was a teacher at the same time. It's like I don't have mental capacity to come home and think, what am I making for dinner? So right now how it works is I get my farm box on a Tuesday. I look at everything and then I create a menu inspired on the box. And then from there, I make a shopping list and I go shopping and I stick to the menu. And sometimes the days will get mixed up. Like I'll decide, actually, I don't have time to make tortillas today. I'll be doing that another day or whatever. But that is something that really just takes a lot of the mental guesswork away. Another thing is, especially if you work outside of the home, is having set days that you do certain chores. So you're not, I remember when we were both new teachers, my husband and I, we would spend like all day Saturday cleaning. It's like doing laundry and cleaning and catching up. And it was like, this is my day off. This is how I'm spending it. So then started doing things where it was like doing laundry almost every day, especially when I have kids, running the dishwasher every day. You can do like half load or whatever to save on water and like be better to the environment. But then it became like, okay, I'm going to do this cleaning on Friday. I'll do this one on Monday. And so it just became so that I wasn't cleaning all day on one day. I broke it up into like 15-minute activities, right? It only takes me about maybe half an hour at the most to mop my floor. I can fit that in. So that's another thing that helps. Having a to-do list or several to-do lists like on the phone as the reminders is really helpful. Not with notifications and things like that would stress you out, but just to have it so it's like you don't have to keep it in your head. Something that keeps us from being mindful and present is like, oh, I gotta go get this thing at the store. I need to go get my oil changed. And you just keep thinking about that thing all the time. But if you write it down and you make a habit of checking your lists a couple times a day, you're good, right? And that frees up space for you to have some downtime, because that's really, in the end, slow living is about downtime. Another habit that I have is Sundays, for the most part, we're home. We usually do like a family hike or something like that. I like to just be in my kitchen on Sundays. So that's the day I'll make veg stock. So I don't know if I've talked about this on here. I don't think I have, but I keep a freezer bag in the freezer, and as I cook throughout the weeks, I throw veggie scraps into it. So like tops of onions and peppers, carrot tops, carrot shreds. If I peel a potato peels. If I'm only using the top of an herb, then the stem of the herb. Just all kinds of stuff go in there. Once the bag is full, I put it in my crock pot and I make vegetable stock. I drain it. I usually add a little bit of liquid aminos, which is like a soy sauce, nutritional yeast, and salt. And I make the stock and then I freeze it. And so I never buy vegetable stock. You can also do this with like bone broth and chicken and stuff like that. We don't eat meat in our house, but I know that's totally possible. And so on Sundays, I'll usually do something like that. Sundays are usually my day. If I'm going to make a tincture, I'll start the tincture. If I'm going to ferment food, I've been into fermenting pickles, that's the day to do that. I usually bake something, like I'll bake bread or I'll bake cookies. But just kind of give myself the time and space to be in the kitchen, because I like to be in the kitchen. So this is not for everybody. I'm definitely a kitchen witch. I love being in my kitchen, I love being in my garden, and then taking that garden stuff into the kitchen. Like, that's my happy place. And Sundays I make space for that. Like, I'm happy to be in the kitchen for hours. And I always wear Crocs. It really helps my feet. That's just like, really helps my back and my feet. But yeah, so that's something I really enjoy. Right now, speaking of the garden, if you're not already doing so, this is good seed saving time. So as I get things from the farm box or as I pull things from the garden, like for instance, we're growing lemon cucumber. I recently pulled probably the biggest, healthiest looking lemon cucumber we had, and then I scooped out all the seeds and I let them air dry on the kitchen counter on a plate. And then I put them in a bag and labeled them for next year. So this is a time to save seeds. It's just really important that you dry them out because they can mold. So you want them to be completely dry before you put them in a bag. Or I also use old spice jars or herb jars, glass ones. And the other thing I do is I grow a lot of wildflowers. So I go out in the yard and I pull off the dead heads, and then I sprinkle the seeds. I just keep a jar, and it's just all the wildflower seeds. I don't differentiate. It's just like, it's got a mix of things in there. And then comes like spring, I'll just put them all back out into the dirt. So this is a good seed saving time for sure. If you're growing herbs, this is a really good time to collect a good amount and dry them. I was able to really not have to go and buy a lot of herbs recently this winter because I had them all saved. And so for instance, I will go and collect my lemon balm. What I'm going to do is I'm going to wash it, remove all the bugs. I'm going to towel dry it, and then I'm going to let it air dry for maybe 12 to 24 hours. Then from there, I bind it in a string and I hang it upside down and let it air dry until it's dry. It usually takes about a week or two. Then from there, it gets put into a jar or a bag and labeled with the herb and the year. I think the year is really important. And then the last thing I want to do before we go today is give you a couple of journal prompts. If you hear a little banging on my door, that's my cat, but I'm not going to get up right now. So a couple journal prompts to think about. So we're going into eclipse season like I talked about. So what is it that you want to transform? What is it that you want to transmute? What needs nourishing at this time? And it could be in your life, it could be in your body, it could be in a relationship, your home. What are you feeling called to clean or cleanse or declutter? And lastly, what, if any, shadows are rising? And like I said, you really want to pay attention to dreams and cards. Before eclipse seasons, a lot of messages will come through with clues as to what you're processing in this season. So like I said, the first one is on the 7th, and the next one is on the 21st, which we'll talk about when we get there a little closer to that time. But as always, thank you for listening and being cozy with me. And please let me know what you think of the card reading. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. As always, thank you for listening. Please subscribe and share with a friend. If you haven't already done so, be on the lookout for my book, Spirit Crystals. Discover your crystal guide for healing and empowerment. Available wherever you buy books.